Got it. And I'll just take 1 second to. Oh, meeting is now streaming live. Live. So I just have to just set this up. Give me a second.
What do you stream through out of curiosity? Like,
Okay.
how do you stream that on Facebook from Zoom?
This is via Zoom. We're live now only. So we're live on Facebook,
Okay.
and the
Okay.
question I'll answer with whatever less technical knowledge. Like I'm not a technical person, but I've managed to learn it all.
Right.
And successfully done 75 interviews. So we are on our 76th interviews. So good morning, everybody. I am back with Oni, and I've been away for 15 days. It's looks I've been away forever. Suddenly, when I started this whole tech stuff, I was as lost as I was on the first interview. I didn't know what was happening because the whole flow was not there, and the setup changed. My house changed. So we were just taking the setup time, but I think I'm better practice, so it did it much faster than I could have. So welcome, Oni, and I'm so happy. I'm so excited. I'm starting my 76th onwards interview, the last 25 interviews to reach the finish line. Oni, please go ahead and introduce yourself because I always say this: the mother who lives a story tells the story the best. But please introduce who Oni is and her journey till here, and then we'll take the conversation ahead.
Okay. Well, I'm so happy to be here and glad to be number 76. So my name's OnnieMichalski. I live here in Montana, which is in the United States, Western United States. I am first and foremost a mom, and we've got 6 children. So I've got 6 kids and married 22 years, kids ranging from age 21 down to 7. I'm also a licensed therapist, a licensed clinical professional counselor. And I'm licensed here in Montana, and I'm also a wellness coach. And I specialize in moms. I specialize in helping moms take care of themselves. In fact, my thing is Moms Without Capes, because I help moms who, feel that they need to do everything and be everything, help them hang up their superwoman cape and take a break and start taking care of themselves.
Yeah.
And so that's who I am.
So Sarah is here saying, "Hi, ladies, 6 kids, bless your heart," is what she's saying. And I mean, it's just the mom's heart. It's just it can take as many as 12 kids. You have a mom with 12 kids. Like the heart still
Expands.
expanding, and you just have all the space to do it, and you just keep. And yes, you have a very beautiful group called. You started the thing called Moms with Capes, without capes.
Without capes. Yes.
The Moms Without Capes. So we will put, if you want your Zoom link to be put here, we will put it out there. Oni, what's been your journey? Let's go ahead as a journey since Oni became a mom. What's been the journey? What are the decisions? What made you come till here? What all did you do in this, having 6 kids in last 21 years?
So none of my children were planned. None of them were planned. I became a mom. I was 23 years old, and really just fell into. I worked for a bit outside of the home, but then it was too hard with my children, with the young ones, and so I decided to become a stay-at-home mom. And I was a stay-at-home mom for 14 years. And during that time, I grew up with my mom. My own mom was a stay-at-home mom. And so I felt that was really my only choice. Like I have since learned, I've gone back to work and started my own business and all this, but I've always, during that time as a stay-at-home mom, I was I filled my schedule. I really, I started homeschooling my kids. I was a Girl Scout leader. I was involved in my church, just doing all these things. And I kept really busy because I felt like that was what I needed to do to be a good mom. Right. And through the years, we moved across the country to where my husband's from, because I'm originally from the East Coast. Right. So we moved across the country about 11 years ago as a way to simplify because there was just so much going on. And where I'm from is Philadelphia. And so it was always things to do. So we moved to Montana, which is very remote. And we moved to a town of like 1,500 people. So there wasn't much to do. But despite that, I continued to fill my schedule. Like the goal was to simplify, but I really just, kind of embraced it and just, I hadn't learned my lesson. And continue to I was continuing to homeschool, and then I became the president of our local Friends of the Pool and on Chamber of Commerce. And we bought a hotel. I continued to just fill my schedule, and I wasn't paying attention to myself. I felt really guilty to do anything for myself. And so it took a lot of mindset work. It took a lot of shifting and realizing that I am important enough to prioritize and to get rid of that guilt and to be able to start working on growing myself. And that was when I decided to start the business. And in the meantime, I had gotten my master's in counseling back in 2003. And so I had my degree, but then I decided in 2017 to get licensed. And so I needed 2,300 hours of supervised counseling, where I was counseling people under a supervisor. And so I got that, and I was able to get licensed. But I wanted to lean more into my coaching, which I got my coaching certificate through, I was teaching Zumba. And I'll talk about that in a little bit, but I was teaching Zumba, and it led me to get certified as a health coach. And when I did that, I wanted to create a business that merged that would work for me as a mom and took my experience as a mom, and also addressed a lot of mental health, and then coaching, which is really as many of, perhaps the people that are viewing this know, a coach is really future oriented and working on goals. And so that was how I created the business that I have today. And it's continued to evolve, of course, and it will continue to evolve, but it perfectly merges all of my experience and knowledge and education into what I do. So
Unbelievable, Onnie, because I just realized that I've not put my mic on. That's what, when you go off your every day what you're doing. So I just realized maybe people can hear me better now. But so you did homeschooling for all your children? Did you say that? Except the last one?
Except for my last one.
And 2,300 hours of supervised counseling?
Yes. So no, they had gone back to school. See, over the years, I decided when my oldest, who is now 21, when she was in second grade, I actually read a book on homeschooling, and I was inspired, and I was like, and at that time we only had two. And so I'm like, I'm going to try this. And I ended up homeschooling her throughout up till ninth grade. And then we had other, the future kids, and they all homeschooled. And so our youngest one never homeschooled. Well, except for when COVID hit and we had to do remote schooling. And let me tell you this, remote schooling is totally different than homeschooling. Remote schooling, I called up our director and was crying to her. It was a mess. I was like, oh my gosh. Plus I was trying to build my business at that time. And so it was a lot of stress. And when they were able to go back to school, they went back to school. But when remote learning was totally different because I'm on the school schedule. And with homeschooling, it was my schedule. And I was able to come up with okay, let's do math today. Let's do, whereas with the remote, I'm like, oh my gosh, we got a Zoom call. Oh my God, you have to give in this paper. It was a lot to keep track of everyone's schooling, which was a lot different than the homeschooling. But
my kid is still because
still remote.
It's still remote. It's opening up
Mm.
now slowly, but it's almost this is second year he's on remote schooling, and it's total madness because you're trying to um, like match up the schedule that they've created, and then
Yeah.
and with one
It is so.
I go crazy with six. It would be another
It
level
was.
of
They were
madness.
all on different schedules. Now, my oldest two are now graduated. So that's, that's good. But it was the four of them were all, the more four younger were all in school, and it was hard. But over the years, like I homeschooled, some were in school and I homeschooled some. So we did a combination, what worked for us. And that was the thing. Like it wasn't, I'm going to homeschool them all. Like once they decided to start going back to school, I had, my son, I actually pulled him for second grade and homeschooled him for second grade. My 18, she's now 18 in fourth grade, I pulled her. So like there was always one at home. In fact, this past year was the first year that all of my kids went to school and I didn't have any little ones at home, which was really different. Like after 22 years, like this was my first year that I was like, after they went to school the first day, it was really strange. Like, what do I do?
Oh, you're like six kids all the time for 22
I've
years.
always had a baby. Yeah, I've always had like somebody at home. And so this was the first year after all of this time.
We have to stop
So
sometime. Like you had to stop at six. Like you can't have babies
yeah,
forever coming.
I'm done. Half a
Done.
dozen. That's
So
all.
thank God you're done because I mean, just because we want one baby to be homeschooling at home, we just can't keep having babies all the time, right?
Right. And we
And
went from having two to having four because we had twins in the middle. So we like doubled. And then we were like, what's one more? And then, it just happened. And then finally at number 6, I felt complete. I never thought I'd feel that, but I felt like our family is complete.
right. And what's admiring about this whole journey that I'm amazed that you've done 2,300 hours of counseling, you've done multiple stuff, you've raised 6 children, one being homeschooled all the time, you know, finding their schedule, and then still looking like a shining mom after 22 years and not looking as if totally gone. So that itself is very inspiring, and that's why this book, that's why this book is coming out to inspire mothers to say, like, see, only 6 children, and she's done 2,300 supervised under supervision counseling. That is physically going and being under somebody and actually doing it and managing
Mhm.
your time. If somebody like you will not teach time management, who will? Because like I'm just with 2 kids and I'm totally everywhere. And that's what I think when we were trying to set up our Calendly interview and I was filling it up, and there was a question I really wanted to write, when you were like, we were just
Yes.
trying to talk regularly, like just generally. But because there's a system and you have a question there, what are you struggling the most with? And I wrote time management. And
Mhm.
that's the thing that made me reach out to you because I used to keep getting your messages, and every time it was the same thing. Do you know how to manage your time? Do you know how to manage your time? I'm like, not at all. I'm right. So, and just this, that of course I've done these last 75 interviews and raising a little one and sleepless night breastfeeding. But like when my son got burnt while I was talking to another mom after I kept the call with you when I was talking to another mom, the whole guilt comes and sits on your head. You're like, oh my God, if I was not talking for my work, he would have not got burnt. And that's the kind of guilt we move forward with. And now that you worked with, have you ever felt guilty? Do you this guilt surround you many times when you were working, when you were doing such impossible things? I'm really blown away with the fact that you did 2,300 or supervised counseling, this thing, apart from many things, and raising 6 children and having them as well. Not only raising them, but also having them like that. That itself is like a big achievement. And then coming here and shining, and then sharing that experience with the world. You really are. I mean, if I was there next to you, I would give you a tight hug on you for living this life so beautifully, and then now sharing it with so many people through your group. And I would urge all moms to go and join a group because Oni would know how to do this. So did you ever feel
Mhm.
guilty, Oni? Did you ever feel guilty that, oh my God, if I didn't do this? Some incidences, anything you felt that, because that's the most common thing that every mom feels. Like I felt
Yes.
guilty. Like that's what it is. What was that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I said that I was going to share about my Zumba experience
Yeah.
because I felt like that was like when I look back and hindsight's 2020, like I feel like my Zumba experience was the defining moment that, so what it was my friend, I we had a I had a friend who kept asking me to go try this Zumba class, who another mutual friend was teaching. And for months, I kept telling her I couldn't. Like, I had to get dinner on the table. I had to make sure the house was clean. Like, I had all of these things that in my mind, I had to have everything had to be perfect in order for me to feel comfortable with stepping out and going to this class. So for months, I told her no. And she was persistent and she kept, let's go tonight, let's go tonight. So there was one day that everything lined up. The stars lined up. I had dinner in a crock pot, like in a slow cooker. I had the house clean. My husband was home. He was like, just go. And I went and I ended up loving it. So much so that I just started making time for it. And that guilt that you're talking about, it really, there's days that I still feel guilty, but it is so much less than what I felt years ago. So much less because I have been able to, one, see the effects of taking care of myself, of doing something that I love, of pursuing something that I was passionate about. Now, the Zumba, I actually I started teaching the class after about 6 months. They were looking for a sub, and I decided to go get trained. And then, of course, when I got trained, I was like, I'm just going to start teaching the class myself. And that's what I did. And that led me to the road that I'm on now, the health coaching and the wellness coaching. And so when I had felt so extremely guilty, you just mentioned about time management. And while that is so important, like to be able to create that time for yourself, it's really in here that you need to, you make those changes. Like, it's managing your thoughts and your feelings more than the schedule, because I was able to make time in my day. Like, I am very organized with time, but it was realizing that I am worthy enough to spend time focusing on that's what had to happen in order for me to make those shifts and to be able to continue to prioritize my own passion, something that I really enjoyed. And then as it happened, that guilt gets less and less when I realized that, because our thoughts influence our feelings. And so when you start thinking, when you start prioritizing and shifting those beliefs, those underlying beliefs that are fueling your thoughts, that's when the real magic happens. And that's a lot what I work on with my clients, is those thoughts and beliefs that are creating the feelings and the actions.
Absolutely, and I totally agree with that. And right now I'm sitting here still. It's just like 12 days of hospital and running and he's screaming and everything. It just put me in such a halt that as a mother, you just like feel. Of course, the sleepless nights went to another level from a regular sleepless night just to be a caregiver to this little one. But one thing that I learned, and I was like amazed. And after 2 days, my 2-year-old was jumping around with this whole band-aid and everything. I'm looking at him. I'm like, listen,
The resilience.
I'm totally like gone, and I'm here like totally amazed at what happened. Your scream has got stuck into my ear of being burned, right? Because I was sitting
Mhm.
on a call and I can just hear that scream down, and I ran. So I'm like, you are hopping here, really? And he's hopping with this whole bandage and his burnt face. He's hopping, and we are crying, and we are looking at him, and we are like, my sister-in-law came, and we are playing
Mm.
with him, and just his smile and just his jumping around was just making us cry even more, because we're just like we it seems it's hurting us more than it's hurting you know like. And of course it was painful to see him like that, but it was a lesson that was being given to me right there, of bouncing
Mhm.
back. And then the thoughts you're talking about as a mother, just keeping it that thought in and saying, oh my God, and just repeating it to yourself, repeating it to yourself. Sometimes you try to be very strong and we just think nothing happened, and inside is just churning. And here is a
Mhm.
2-year old, fully bandaged and jumping
Just
around.
jumping around.
And not only jumping, hopping in ecstasy, And I mean, I could see his hurt not
You got to
healing.
take lessons. Take lessons.
There's so much happened in the last 15 days. I've moved houses. And this is another thing I must ask you, because you work with mothers. And I moved
Mhm.
houses because I moved one city and then the other city. And then within the city, I've now moved houses within 6 months. And I started to declutter, because from one city, we packed up everything. And at that time, I was like, we're taking everything
Right.
and we're declutter. Then we decided this house is not working, 6 months, we're going to have be another house. So I never opened my cartons. But the new house, I tried to open my cartons. And I was like, how much
And
accumulation?
things weren't fitting.
I'm just like,
Like
how
you're
much
like,
accumulation? And everything was children and toys and children and stuff and everything. So I started to declutter, and even that decluttering process was so draining for me, because you're just like, I must confess, I own 1,500 books on children. Just like, and I'm publicly telling you this, that I own 1,500 books just on kids. Um,
wow, that's a
because
lot.
yeah, that because I wanted to be a children's writer, so I kept on collecting books. Okay, and of course, my children surrounded themselves by books, and I also always thought, doesn't matter. I'll buy these books, but I'll open a library out of it for kids who can't afford these books, because I have books from all
Okay.
over.
Mhm.
So keeping that without guilt, I kept on buying books, 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 because I have to open a library, and that library is it must happen now, because I saw them and I was just like, so the decluttering process itself is a like so in the
Training.
process, like you have 6 children. Do you feel that all this clutter comes around, and how do you manage? Because that's one part you keep postponing. You just keep saying, put it on the side. So this has been the last 15 days, decluttering, and then looking at this boy, and then looking at this boy jumping around from day two, and I'm just like crying looking at him, and he's just like jumping around. So like these incidences have made me feel, why not the 76th mom now? And that's why I said, no, only we'll do it. And of course it didn't happen, and I was just like, it's not happening. And now we started today, and I've suddenly lined up another 10 moms, one after the other. So
Nice.
there were two things, like, do you speak to mothers about the decluttering, and how I've started to realize that so much energy is also released and so much space is made for us when we start to declutter. So one about that,
Yes.
second about how children just bounce back faster than the mothers do.
Okay. So with the decluttering, I constantly have a bag. I don't look at, if I was to go through the house, it would be overwhelming to think like, oh, I've got to pare down. Or a lot of times they'll say, oh, you have to get rid of 100 items, or nothing can come in the house unless you throw something out or get rid of something. Like there's all kinds of rules that people have, but what has worked for me might not work for everyone else. But I have in my laundry room just a trash bag that when I'm doing laundry, like clothes that don't fit or anything, I'm always just putting them to the side. I don't go and through the house and do a whole sweep or anything like that. But you can imagine with all of the kids, how much stuff we accumulate. It seems like they can't even go out of the house without coming back with things. In fact, I just went for a visit with my mom, like over on the East Coast, and we were going there. We were fine. Our suitcase weighed, I think 42 pounds, but coming back, it was overweight. So I had to take things out. Just going across there, like, and I'm like, I refuse to buy another suitcase or pay for another suitcase. So it was hard, but we had to just kind of put those limits on. And so for me, I just keep a bag in the laundry room, and with clothes or toys, I'm constantly adding to it. And when it's full, I bag it up and I bring it to the thrift store. I used to sit like, okay, this part's gonna, I'll have a yard sale one day, and this one's gonna go to a shop. Like I used to divide it up and try to, kind of be particular about where I'm sending it. But at this point, I don't. Like the past few years, I don't. I'm like, it's not worth it. The stuff will just be sitting here for months, out of sight, out of mind. I'm not going to miss it. And it's been only a rare occasion that my kids are like, hey, what happened to that so and so? But out of sight, out of mind. Once it's gone, it's gone. So that's how I deal with decluttering.
Yeah,
And
it is a lot, 6 children, and amount of stuff we can collect. And just before we go to the next thing, I also feel that mothers start living their dreams through children as well, because they're actively not like their childhood dreams. Like I always loved books, but I never. It's not that I never could get them, but I never got to them, or never had so many of them. And I wanted to be children's writer, and I love stories. And children's stories get over in like 10 pages with one line each, and I'm like, oh god, it's gone like that. And now the next one, now the next one. So I'm definitely guilty of that, and it happens that sometimes when we're actively not living our dreams, we start living our dreams through children. And a lot of
yes,
accumulation, we become somebody maybe in their age who's trying to live with them what they are doing, and that's how we get. Have you ever seen this? And I don't know whether this is true to many moms. I've worked with moms as well, that sometimes mothers are more possessive of the toys of the children than the children are themselves possessive of them, like leaving them behind. Like if the child has left it behind, and they suddenly say, "Hey, mom, I've left my child. Oh my God, I will not be able to sleep tonight because I don't have the toy." The mother will go like out of the way and go and find that toy and come back and feel more relaxed that the toy is back. Well, the child has already forgotten about it. Like, have you encountered these kinds of things within yourself?
like a toy that they really love. Is that what you mean?
Like, it could be a toy, it could be something that they play with. Because what I'm coming to here is that I've seen a lot of times we as moms, I've found myself a few times. I'm like, it's just a toy. He's left it. It's gone. We can tell him it's gone. It's okay. But I've gone all the way back and I've found his toy, and I've like wasted maybe 2 3 hours just to find in the restaurant because I'm like trying to do that. And
Oh.
that's when I'm not. And I just feel that what are you doing? Like that is like it's
It's
and
insane, yeah.
yeah, it is like
It's
because
a lot of wasted time and energy.
yes, and it's a toy that size. It would be that toy that size, dinosaur or something. And it happened yesterday to me. So, like last 15 years, and this mother journey, of course, has been teaching me a lot of things as well. And yesterday again, my older one said, "I left my dinosaur in the golf course." And this is the first time I told him, next time don't bring it out. I've told you so many times, don't bring it out. It's gone, it's gone. I'm,
Yes.
I'm not going to turn back to get that toy. And that's the new 15 days has taught me, because there are so many bigger things that we have to
To worry
comfort.
about.
Yeah. And
That's a that's funny because my 7-year-old, when we just traveled, I took my youngest two with me. And my 7-year-old, my mom had given her some of her old makeup, and she carried it on her carry-on. And so we were on the airplane, and we were halfway after we got landed, and we were halfway back to the house. And she went, her face just like up. She's like, I left my makeup in like the seat pocket of the airplane. And I was like, we're not going back for it. Like that, it is what it is. Nothing's, we're already in a direction. She can learn to live without things.
yeah, I
I
know.
think it's a lesson. Like it's a lesson in responsibility too, like to teach them, like, you have to be responsible for your things. And I
Yes,
mean, of course, if it was like an iPad or like something that was really expensive, I probably would have turned around. But and even though it was important to her, next time you have to remember these things. That's like even at school when you're like rushing the things back up to this, like other kid forgot their homework or whatever. Like, no, you have to face the consequences.
right. Yeah, I mean there are many ways of looking at it, and like you just said, it was important to her, and uh, you know, so when I'm thinking about it, like every time I've gone back, it's become very important for me to give him something that's very important for him, even if it's just his drawing. Sometimes it's just his
Mhm.
drawing that he's left behind, and I've gone back to it. But that's another thing that's coming up to me while I'm talking to you. It's
You do. You
interesting
have
that
to weigh the options. You have to
yeah,
weigh the
yeah,
options and see, like,
yeah.
what do we want the end to be? Like, what, you know,
The second one I don't do that. With the second one, I don't do that. It's with the first one that I do that. I've done that.
With the first child, is that what you said?
Yes, that's the first.
Yeah, I'm a completely different parent. I tell my older ones that all the time. I'm like, I am different. So the
Yeah.
way I parent is
Yeah.
completely different from
Right.
when I parented my older ones.
Right.
Like,
Because the first one was the only one, so I could do that. With the second one, I'm already
yeah.
so kids. I don't even think you can like.
I stopped at number 2. I was like, no, we're not going back. We're not going back.
I go to the fact the resilience that children have, the fact that they, and of course, you worked as a counselor, and I have recently started studying a lot about mind and how it's working. And so I was talking to my brother-in-law as well, and I was just like, he doesn't feel it. He doesn't. He has the pain, but he doesn't feel it with that intensity because he's not internalized pain. It's not a big
Mhm.
deal for him. Like for him, it's painful to enter the hospital. The minute he starts entering, he'll say, "Go back, go back, go back." Like that's the place. But he's out of there. He's absolutely okay because our bodies keep feeling the pain, but it's when we start internalizing it, when we start thinking about it, when we start thinking it's a very big deal, is when we
Yeah.
start sitting. And that's how mothers, a lot of years, they just sit like that. They internalize their pain, they live it again and again every single day with silence and reliving it, and they grieve what they've, lost in the process. And that grief becomes like they just keep, thinking about what they've lost.
Ruminating,
Even if they
yes.
are moving forward with all the love and positivity, many moms feel very lost, that this is my loss as a mother in return of. And that's how this whole project started, because I wanted to bring this whole thing out that there's still 100 shining moms who are still doing everything, and who are also changing and embracing their change and not living um, the mom they were before they were moms, like the
Yes.
woman they were before they were moms.
We
So
lose ourselves.
yeah, so about that, um of course, as you start moving forward, did you ever, do you think you're in a better place now than you were when you started off, even being before you were a mom? Because most moms, or I don't should not say most, but many moms feel that they're in a worse place than they were when they started, or with being a mom. Personally, personally.
Right, like they feel that they've lost themselves, that they don't
Yeah.
have, that basically their life is over kind of thing. And it's not. That's the part where you have to learn how to navigate those feelings and how to find yourself as a mom, but then separate that, like, a mother is a role that you are playing, but the woman who you are inside, that's who we tend to lose. And a lot of like the culture of these expectations that we have of what makes a good mother or what we need to do, and it's huge, like the self-sacrifice, right? The self-sacrifice that we have to make. And that's a lot of what I teach my clients about. Like, we have to rework those expectations and see what works for you now, to re-find yourself and rediscover and uncover, like, you can still have passions, you can have deeper passions, but we feel that we need to give ourselves up, who we are, for our children. And that's not the case, because we have, whoever you believe in, God, a higher power, like, we were given our gifts and our talents and our passions, and we were meant to share them with our children. We weren't meant to, like, drown them and push them down and say, oh, I'll revisit that when my kid turns 18. We were meant to continue to grow and to learn, and you have all those books, and to share our passions with our kids, not to drown them. And so many times many moms think that they can't be creative, or they can't pursue their own interests and passions and what they like. They don't even know what it is, because they've put them to the side. They put them on the back burner, thinking that they have to be, all there every moment for their children. And so they lose themselves. They forget who they are. And it's so important to be able to keep that alive. keep those passions and interests alive, because you owe it to your children, you owe it to your family to share them with them, to share the passions and interests with them.
I agree. I totally agree. And that's a very, very well put up there, Moni, because I like the fact that you said that we are meant to share our talents and our stuff, everything with our children. And the more they see us, the more they understand. Like, again, last 15 days, my son suddenly, older one, is not used to me going back to lives. And he was getting sick of me going to live every single day for that 1 hour or 2 hours. But he was coping up with it because he was getting involved in it and he was thinking that I'm doing something with moms and all that. And
Mhm.
after 15 days again, he like came up to me. He's like, "Well, why do you have to do these lives again?" Like he was like, "Oh, my mom was back and now she's gone again." And I just told him that, I had a target of 100 and then only 75 were done. And see, last 15 days has stalled us. And he's like, he understood. He understood. And he just said,
Yes.
okay, I'm right. You need to finish your
Yeah.
100 months and you need to do it. All right. And
And it's an important lesson that you're teaching him. Like, when he grows up and he has a wife, like you
yeah,
want him to know like that his wife can pursue her own thing, like doesn't have to lose herself in
and
marriage or as a mom
yes,
or
and
him
that's
as
what
a father.
and that's exactly and now I'm going to go on to the question of self-portrait before we wrap up. But the self-portrait movement was all about this, like at this time I feel so sleepy and so tired and so much, and I was just like, I don't want to go live, and how will I be looking, and people will be like, come on, she, people. But I was just like, in spite of heading a movement where I'm trying to say that it doesn't matter, showing up matters, showing up in your best, whatever
Yes.
doing matters, I still get trapped in it. You get trapped in it, and that is my going to be my work for some time now. That what is this trap that comes to us, especially when we try to show up in lives or images or photographs. All that is okay. Everything is okay when nobody's taking our pictures or nobody is putting us out there in the world in a focus or a spotlight. And that's
Yes.
where this project is going to, you know, is going to uh, bring that thing out that there is nothing wrong. Like if you are tired, whatever, but that should not stop you from
We're human. We are human.
keep don't have to look like this model of cosmopolitan all the time to show up. You can show
Mhm.
up your authentic self, and thank God to the situations in COVID and the online development. Now, even more, your authentic self is even more accepted. Like now, mothers are breastfeeding while they're going online. They're launching their dreams online. Everything. So,
Mhm.
if I tell you about self portrait, what like do you think in this whole busy life of 6 children and doing so much and learning, do you, and because that's my work and it's going to keep going deeper and
Mhm.
deeper in it, did you ever feel that um, taking photographs is not a big deal, or being with the children with photographs is not a big deal, or I should not show up in the photographs? Did you ever have that kind of a feeling, or you were all out there, always making memories? Because I'm saying this again and again that now photography has become all about your image and not about memories, versus what it was when I also started 20 years back. It was all creating those memories, and even with my clients, only the memories in which they look nice is the memory that's worth it to put. And I'm going blurred for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Um, it's a tech. Yeah, but
So you're asking if I've ever.
while I fix the blur,
Yeah.
because I'm a photographer, the blur bothers me. The blur bothers me now. This lighting is bothering me because it's
Yeah,
because
all of a sudden it just started getting
yeah,
blurry.
yeah. So as a photographer, it bothers me. Why is it blur? Why is the light not
Mm.
yellow and why is it white? All this is my photographer mind going on in my back right now, saying that okay, the next interview we need to fix the lighting, we need to fix all that. But anyway, where was I? Before the blur.
So you're asking me if my like thinking that I need to put the best image forward is prevents me from making memories. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. So did you create a lot of memories in pictures yourself? Even if I'm blurred, sorry, it just bothers me a lot.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yes.
uh, but while I fix that, but did it ever, were you very actively going in the pictures with the children, or you always pulled back? That's my question.
Okay, so a lot of times when I'm making memories, like when I'm actively like involved with my kids, I don't think of pulling out my camera. That's the thing. And so and I always feel like I try not, my camera's on my phone. I don't have a
Right.
separate camera. And I try not to, it's a struggle, but I try not to bring my phone into a lot of, like when I'm, when I'm engaged with my kids. Like I try not to have my phone in my pocket, things like that. And so I don't think of even taking pictures. A few months back, I started a series that I was going to do it, and then life got in the way. But I wanted to show a thing because a lot of times when I do pull out the camera, it's when my kids are playing or like they're getting along, and I'm like, or they're doing something cute. I take a lot of pictures of my kids sleeping because I think they're a lot of times like they'll fall asleep in funny poses. And so I was like, I wanted to do a series of pictures, kind of like a behind the scenes, like, hey, like this might look like the perfect like family eating lunch together, but this is what everything that happened behind the scenes, because I feel that social media plays a huge role in women feeling bad about themselves and like the compare game and on the self-image of women, like, and so I wanted to, moms especially, like you see these other moms on social media like with their kids all in matching outfits and they seem to have it all together, and that's not real. And then we look at them and we're like, man, I'm not measuring up, I'm not feeling like enough. And that's a huge part of the part, like what I want, like my business squashes that. Like you are enough, you are totally enough, you are worthy just as you are, and let's do that. And so i don't I don't pull my camera out as much as I should, but I don't think that I've ever said, oh, I'm not going to take this picture because
But
things aren't perfect.
my question was, so this is because this is the journey I'm taking ahead.
Mhm.
I'm very
Yes,
interested.
you are the videographer and the photographer.
But I was asked in one of my interviews, my father being everything to me, and I was asked that, can you give me some of the pictures with your father, right?
Mhm.
And I tried to search, and my father took a lot of, like, he was a hobby photographer, a lot of behind the scenes pictures of me. We've enjoyed it, we've loved it, people have loved it, his friends have loved it.
Was
And
he
then
in any of them?
I I searched and I searched, like, do you have any childhood
Yeah.
pictures with your dad? And my dad is my soulmate. Like, I tell him he's my soulmate. He's like everything to me. I
Mm,
searched and I searched and I searched and I searched and I did not find. And I found one
right.
very horrible picture in which I'm crying and he's trying to save me. Somebody took him. And I'm like, is that the memory that
That's the only picture. Yeah.
and that too, like, so he was always behind the cameras.
Yes.
He never willingly put himself there. And today at 40, I feel that, like, if I lose, like, my father's 75, if I lose him, I have nothing to hold on to pass it to my next, like, like nine. Even me being a photographer, I've not taken his picture because he has never
Been open to
he
it.
said that, take my picture, I want to take a picture with you.
Right.
Yeah, hug, and let's do this. And now, like at 75, I take a lot of pictures of him and his videos whenever he visits us with the grandchildren, because I want the grandchildren to feel him, to do it.
Yes.
What I'm saying is not in the middle of what they're saying, but pictures do have this effect. And of course, I have gone in deeper of pictures even stopping World War II. Like there was a Vietnam War that was stopped by a picture of children being burned in Vietnam War. That's
Mm,
my another course
huh.
that I do. There's another course that I do, and when I talk about the visual story mastery, about 70% of mine are visual. Okay, and we leave a lot of stuff behind, but most of the time I've interviewed many mothers and spoken to many mothers who are now old and said, we've missed
Are
our,
they in pictures?
they're not in our picture, I'm not in any of the
Right.
pictures. And now that
That's
you're telling me
something,
this, yeah, I will be in my grandchildren's pictures because at least I should be there. So now they move forward and they try to willingly take their pictures with their grandchildren because now they realize the time is gone and those hugs, and
right,
that's not for you. That's also to pass it on to the to your children. Say,
right,
mom
right,
was
right.
drunk, not that mom was missing. It's a bigger thing. It's not about a picture. It's about mom was missing because they forget
Yes,
everything.
because the
But
mom's behind the camera. That's so common. Because for years I really was like, I wasn't in any of the pictures. And then I started we use self-timer a lot. We use the self-timer on the camera. And with I don't even own a selfie stick. I've made it a point to be in some pictures, especially after I started my business. That was a big thing. I was like, I have to be in these pictures. So that really propelled me to get into more pictures, not so much for the memory thing, but that's what you said is so true, that you've raised a lot of valid points
yeah, and
that,
I miss it. I miss my teenage hugs of my father being with him. Even one picture with him
yeah.
as a teenager, one picture with him when
Hmm.
he's created a lot of pictures. But my point is not only that, like because you've worked a lot of inner work, you've done a lot of inner work.
Hmm.
Most of the moms even want to be there in the pictures. They will willingly go off the pictures because of the criticism
Yes.
too. And a lot of time, what I do is that when I am talking, and because I'm getting into coaching, I'm going to start coaching people to
Mhm.
understand what's going on in their head through seeing their own pictures. So the minute the
Yeah.
picture comes, the first thing is delete. Like I think it takes nanosecond. It takes a nanosecond, especially for a mom to delete her picture. It takes a nanosecond.
Mm.
Nah, delete. Nah, delete. She doesn't even want
Right.
to
That because of the self-criticism.
self, and
The
it happens in
self-criticism is
nanoseconds.
huge.
It's
It's
happened in nanoseconds. You've already created that
mm,
image of yourself of not looking nice, and in
yeah.
that you decide that is I know I can see what I don't like, and I'm delete. I know I
Yeah.
can rather than saying what is it I don't like. No,
Yes.
I'm not saying to accept if something has gone wrong onto your face. To say okay, oh, it doesn't matter. If it matters to you, why? Like hold on,
Right.
look at that picture. Why does it matter to you that you look like that?
And will it matter to anybody else? It
Yeah,
won't. Yeah.
what have you lost that you don't like and you want to see?
Mm.
And for that, you're not gifting that to your children. And if you don't
Right.
show up, now the ripple effect, what happens is when we keep saying no to the camera, the children start saying no to the camera because they think that being in front of the camera is all about looking very pretty,
Yes.
very nice.
Yeah,
And like
exactly.
social media,
It perpetuates the cycle.
and the social media I'm talking about is that's what they start creating that perfect picture with the mom, and then they put that
Mhm.
because only a perfect picture with the mom should go there, not the one in which she
Right.
has all the clothes hanging on her while she's collecting them and laughing and looking her head all with oil. Like that could be like that's her, and that kind of
Mm-hmm.
image will not come ahead in social media, which you just said that has a wrong effect on children. So can you just imagine what I'm talking about might be just looks very simple, but it has come a long way because visuals stick to us. Visuals stay.
Yes.
We start deciding a lot of things according to visuals, and we
Hmm.
that's why my work is going to go deeper into this. That why not only in self, like of course self portrait is something that I'm just going to discover that, and I recently told somebody that my whole process of my coaching would be first going in, then expressing out visually, and then deleting
Right.
myself forever.
Right.
So take a picture, go in, understand the technical and the emotional part, come out, express, and leave. And that's what this book is
Hmm.
doing. For a lot of moms, they're going to take a picture, they're going to go in to find out who they are for that one story. They're going to come out and
Yes.
express. And I'm 100% sure once they express their story, they will feel much more confident to be in front of
Hmm.
and not missing. So that's the whole idea about it. So
Yes.
what do you
Yeah.
think about that? How does that feel to you when you're talking to mothers and everything before we wrap it up? And it got blurred. Yeah, it's
Yes. I think you are right on point. Like you have that's exactly right. Like we need to keep those stories and a picture. What do they say? A picture tells 1,000 words. And when we're so quick, I talk a lot about that self-criticism. I call her the inner mean girl, and how we are so critical of ourselves and that we need to stop that because we're not, it's not good for our family, and it's definitely not good for us. It's keeping us stuck, and it's not letting us live to our greatest potential. And, when we're so self-critical that we don't let ourselves be in pictures, we start picking ourselves apart instead of looking at the picture, the whole story. And that's what it sounds like you're doing, is you're having the woman like, let's look at the whole story. And then you'll see why it's so important that you are in this picture.
And also before like that brain that has decided that you are not any more beautiful, or it's like you're, so in my work, when I started photographing people only, I stopped talking to mothers before my shoots totally,
Mm,
and at a very young age, because I was told that you do Reiki and you talk to mothers, your clients, and what they want, and then you try to create it. Well, I started in the world of women, right? Of mothers.
mhm.
And then when I went for asking them questions, they would say, you know what, don't try and take that particular angle because it makes me look horrible. I will try to be behind because my tummy is too big. I will not do this because, and all that happened. And then I went
Right.
with so much talk, and I said, Shikha, don't see that, and don't shoot that, and don't shoot that. And I just kept on seeing that because I'm telling myself, don't do this, don't shoot that. So what I started doing was I stopped. I said, fine, shoot. That's my chart. I'm coming. And I just not talk to.
Whether you like it or not.
And I never asked. They're like, any questions you need to prepare? I said, nothing. I will come there. I just need one black outfit ready, one white outfit ready, one jeans ready. That's it. And I do not want to let your children know that I'm coming. They just
Right.
they just need to know that something is happening. Just don't spoil their schedules. Let them be. I will come, and then such beautiful things emerge. Only I'll share my work, and people always told me that, Shikha, you saw something that most people don't see in us, like
Mhm.
forgot the inner light. But all I was doing was being smart. I was not listening to the chatter to make my
Yeah.
judgment. And
Yeah.
what? Interestingly, last night I was thinking, sometimes I cannot take the second picture of the same person in the same light, like similar manner.
Right.
And
Right.
you know
Yeah.
what? Because in the shoot, in the 4 hours of shoot, I've already had all the conversation and all the negative talk is
Mm,
in me. So now the second time when I'm told to shoot,
yeah.
it's
It's
not
totally different.
the same, because they will come into my mind saying, oh, she's
Mhm.
not like her little small one. I was smaller.
Right.
I didn't even notice that the one I was smaller than the other. You like pointing it out. So
Mhm.
that's like a lot of people say that it's interesting that you're using photography
Mhm.
at 20 years of my work to enter a world which is so deep, and I didn't even know that I was being pushed by the universe to do this
Right.
for the last 20 years. And it's going to be an interesting journey for you as well, because you're going to take this for the book and you're going to go in, and then you'll be finding out who Oni is again and expressing it outward in a picture forever, in a book that might even go for generations ahead to your next generation. My grandmom was in a book of mothers,
Yes.
mothers
Yeah.
in the world. That makes women think, what do we shoot about ourselves?
Mhm.
And then they're stuck, and I'm not getting pictures because everybody's getting stuck, and they're like, we don't know who we are and how do we express ourselves.
Right. Right.
So that's the whole journey, and I'm calling it a self-portrait movement because I am going to show people that doing self-portrait will transform you. It will.
I love
It's a
it.
new tool. It's
I'm
a
right behind you, Shika.
new tool, but it will transform because it's already happening in the group. People are already sending me videos. They're already telling me that, Shikha, it is trans. We are crying. We're writing a story,
Mhm.
crying, and we don't know what it is, and we're trying to express ourselves in the best. Because again, to letting the audience know, it is not your portrait or how you look. It's your story
Right.
that's coming in the book, like
Yes.
of what you're expressing. You could be dancing, and just for mothers to just put their camera away and start dancing for a picture, it itself is so uncomfortable. They're like really? Like I love dancing,
Mhm.
but I can't do it with one camera and nobody around.
Right.
So it's going to be an interesting experience for you. I must share that. So I want to just before I end, I want to ask Oni what her dream is. What's her dream, Oni? And I want to know that before we end. And I welcome you in the book as one of my 76 mom. And thanks for being the 76, because after this pause, I'm restarting with you. So I'm excited.
What is my one dream? I have a lot of dreams, actually. But You know, there's,
Self-portrait 100 dreams. So what is Oni's dream? Oh,
oh my goodness.
yeah.
You didn't prep me for this. Okay. So my, I guess I've got a lot of goals, I guess, is what my thing is. And so my big dream would be to live at the beach. That would really be my big dream would be
Right.
to live at the beach. But then I've got other things, like I want to run a marathon, and I want to relearn Italian, and I want to travel to Greece, and like a lot of traveling, and I want to do a TED talk. Like different things like that. But my big dream would be to live at the beach.
Yeah.
That would be great for me. That would be amazing.
And I wish your dream comes true. And Debbie is also here. Francis is here. Hi, Debbie. Wilma is here in the chat. Yes, we're back. We're going to finish these last 25 interviews. I'm happy that I'm back and I can restart this and we can reach the finish line with the book soon, even if we are delayed by 15 days. I had set this insane target of 100 days. I wanted to finish the interviews in 100 days. But many lessons have been learned, many like breakthroughs spiritually I've had, many things I've learned, and you all are part of it. And just to say it again and again, last 15 days, I know even more that this book works because I know when I was sitting there every night, I was saying that, like, I always said it in my interview only, but it actually happened that if these
Mhm.
moms can do it, like in my head, it would be if Oni can do six, like if I'm stuck somewhere, I can say if Oni can do it with six children, I can do it too. If
Mm.
homeschooling, I can do it, stuff like that. If somebody had, there's a mom who's dealt with a rare disease with her child, if she can deal with it, I can deal with this bird. It's okay. He's screaming. He's 2 years old and everything. So there's so many things that have happened, and the mothers have come back to me again and again in different ways, in different time. And if this book reaches the place, not if, I don't have to stop saying the word if.
When?
It is when it is. Thank you for giving me that word because I'm so like there's so much happening inside of me that I get emotional.
It's exciting.
I'm
It's
excited,
exciting.
everything together. That comes as I will help you in 1 second. I'm wrapping up the interview. That's the entry of my son needing my help.
Yes.
So I'm saying that when this book reaches, thank you for that word. That's a gift that you've given me, Oni. I was trying to replace this word if.
Yes.
When this book reaches, and the mother is holding this book, and she knows the vision of this book, and even if I'm getting blurred, which is annoying me, this when this reaches that mom, she is going to feel uplifted, and there's going to be a community where she can come and find, and she will never feel that she can never do it. She will be able to
Awesome.
do it. And all of you 100 moms are going to be the ones who are going to inspire that one mom who's going to say that I'm giving up. I can't do it. It's too much. And
Yes. And I hope that my story helps her
yes,
become her best version,
it will.
realize that it's possible.
Yes, and that's the vision of this book, to make that mom give her a tight hug, as Lorette said. Say, come on, honey, get up. It's okay. And everybody enough is different. Like we should not judge. Come on, it's just little for you. See what big happens. Everybody has a
Yes.
threshold and limit and different experiences, and sometimes something very small is very tough for them to cross. And if this 100 shades of all kinds of mothers can uplift, like she can just flip and say, oh, I'm not feeling so intense, but I'm feeling a little light. Oh, this mom can help me. And reach out to her. Let me say her website is there. Let's find out what she's doing. It would be awesome. And thank you so much, Oni, for your time. And
thank you for having me. This is awesome. What a great conversation we had.
Yes, and I'm just going to stop the live. Thank you, Debbie, so much wisdom and courage in these moms' breakthroughs. TED Talk. Yes, I have an intention of taking the concept of self-portrait movement to TED Talk as well.
Okay.
That's on my list as well. I'm working on it. I'm working on what can happen through self-portrait, and it's just becoming more and more intense. So we will release that soon. After this job of 100 moms are done, I'm going to be doing some stuff to go further deeper into
yes
finding the solution through self-portrait, finding the release through self-portrait, finding the expression through self-portrait is what I want to do. So let's see where we reach with that. And I will just don't go off live
Okay.
because I'm taking it off. Thank you so much for being here, and I'm